Yay Networks.
Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sybil, and I can't wait for you to hear all of the Great Girlfriend magic on today's show. So without further ado, grab something great to drink, grab your pen and your paper, and get ready for this week's episode. Enjoy! Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun. I'm not going to keep singing in your ear because I probably sound ridiculous, but happy Wednesday, great girlfriends. I know you're probably like, if I hear another song about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Santa or I don't know, whatever else, cookies and sleigh bells, I could scream. So I won't add to that, but happy Wednesday, great girlfriends. Happy Leave Your iTunes Review Day, great girlfriends. I hope all is well with you. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. We are counting down to that very special day, Christmas Day, which in my community as a Christian, it is one of the most important days to our culture because it is the day that we recognize as the day that Christ was born. And I am so excited because it's the day that we get to bring gifts and we get to be gifts and we get to celebrate. And so I just want to leave with you the importance of celebration. Celebration, you know, for me, I feel like every moment that we're above ground, every moment that we're alive and we're breathing these really rich breaths of life is a moment worthy of celebration. And I want us to recognize as a community that we get to bring the spirit of celebration, of gratitude, of joy, zest, every single place we go beyond the holiday season. Celebration is not, just what they mark on the editorial calendar to say, hey, we want to celebrate the following holidays and we want you to spend a lot of money. Every day is a day worthy of celebration. So every single day when you wake up, find one thing, at least one thing worthy of celebrating and celebrate it big, like really, really honor it, right? So today for me, what I want to celebrate is this great girlfriend community. I want to stop and just recognize the fact that for 7.5 years now, this great girlfriend community, you all, the listeners, right? Those of you that have been so loyal to the podcast or new to the podcast, those of you that have opted into the spirit of great girlfriendship, I want to celebrate you for being the warriors that help to keep this brand alive and help to keep the message resonating out in the world. I want to celebrate you for loving on one another, for believing in the power of great girlfriendship, for being great girlfriends, right? For representing yourself as women everywhere you go. I want to celebrate that. And if you haven't had a pat on the back today, girl, I'm giving it to you right now. You can feel that super pat over your right shoulder. That's me. So I'm celebrating you and I want to honor you today. And I want to thank you. Thank you so much for being a gift to my life and a gift to the world. All right. Next up, I want to remind you of the Ready, Set, Go challenge taking place January 22nd through 24th. I am so excited that we are coming together for a 3-day virtual experience, our top of the year Kickstarter challenge, where we are going to disrupt any patterns, negative thoughts, or self-sabotage that kept you behind in 2022. And we're going to start working out some simple strategies and food for thought and some programming to help you power up for 2023. Now, here's the deal. Some of you are going, I am so tired of virtual experiences, and I hear you and I understand you. However, if you've not been a part of the Ready, Set, Go challenge, you don't understand. This thing is so tangible. You can hug your girlfriends through the screen. It's like we're all together in one big room, even though we're not. And this is a way for us as a community to power up for the year. This is a way for us to individually pledge to ourselves what we want to commit to, devote the time and attention to what we deserve, and really, really get clear on how we're going to activate and be held accountable by women who are also there doing the very same thing. So I want you to be a part of the challenge. Go to thegreatgirlfriends.com. The information is there on the website. If you're not on our mailing list, make sure you're a part of it because we also have announcements going out there. And of course, you've probably seen it on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and in our Facebook group, which is also called The Great Girlfriends, places where you should already be plugged in because you don't want to miss our announcements. But don't forget to be a part of the challenge. And when you jump into the challenge, get the ebook. The ebook is going to live with you forever, ever, ever, forever, ever, forever, ever. And it is going to be your friend when you need to have a companion to call on when you're really feeling crazed in the mind and need a reset. You'll be able to grab that ebook, turn to page XYZ, and remember the time that, something was said that really struck you, and it's going to reset you and get you back in motion. So I do want you to grab the ebook, and I want you to join the VIP too, because we get to spend a little more intimate time in the VIP. And so many of our members of the VIP have gone on to be lifers together and are building businesses together and just doing all kind of great things and traveling and becoming great girlfriends. So it's a very special space, and it is limited space in the VIP. I should make that very clear, but you are invited. So it's first come, first serve. And I've said all that to say, you get out of life what you have the courage to ask for, right? And so in every season, I'm going to always dare for you to ask more. I'm going to dare you, to ask for more. I'm always going to dare you to ask for more. That is always going to be, if you feel like what you have is enough, I'm going to go, cool, right? If that's God's portion for your life, cool. You're living it up, sister. Now it's time for you to help other people. But if there's more that's waiting that's brewing on the inside that has not come forth on the outside, then I'm going to ask you to go after it, right? And that's why I'm your great girlfriend in your head and in your pocket and in real life. So anyway, January 22nd, 24th, get there. Can't wait to see your face. Can't wait to get to know you better. Can't wait to support you in 2023. Now, for this week's episode of the podcast, we are doing a little rewind to the Doers and Disruptors Conference from 2021. This is a very special episode of the podcast because I completely hand the mics over to 4 brave gentlemen and 1 brave woman who would dare have a conversation about relationships and what women want and what men want and how we need to do better to show up for one another, and what love and connection looks like in this new day and age. And it is such an exciting conversation because when I tell you, I really respect and love the honesty and the candid conversation that these gentlemen were able to have with our guest moderator. It was powerful. So powerful that you're going to want to take notes, and you're also going to want to share it with your other great girlfriends and chat about it over coffee. And I'm probably going to get some DMs. I already know. I'm ready. Anyway, our guests for today are Pervis Taylor III, Anthony Goss, Andre Ozim, Kelvin Joseph, and Raval Davis. And I am so excited for you to, be a fly on the wall in this conversation called What Women Want Relationship Town Hall. So after your listen, don't forget to share it with your great girlfriends, and also be sure to send me a DM and let me know what you thought about the episode. Okay, great girlfriends, love you. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Peace. Every year, we have a conversation. We bring some men to the room to give us the other side of the coin. A lot of times we have our conversations as great girlfriends in silos, and we talk about the things that we want to know, that we hear, that we want to say. Well, every year, we bring our brothers to come in and represent some of these lost files, right? And to share conversation about their side of things, and we can hear perspective. We always love on our men in their panel, and we thank them for being here, and we make this a safe space for them to share. Why am I saying that? So we don't beat them up. They didn't do it. They weren't there, so they're not going to take the hit, right? All right. I am not moderating this conversation. This conversation is going to be facilitated by my great girlfriend, Raval Davis.
Hey, great girlfriends. Thank you, Sybil. And let's give it up again for Sybil Amuti in that beautiful dress. Isn't she fabulous? Ah, love her. All right, y'all. Great girlfriends. Y'all look good. Honey, y'all came out today. Y'all said we going outside, huh?
Testing.
Ma'am, I need an outfit. I need the details on this right here in the front row. Okay, I'm gonna need the details on that. These hats, I'm gonna need the details on that. Y'all look good. Are y'all excited to be here? All right. Are y'all ready for the What Women Want panel? Are y'all ready? Oh, y'all don't sound ready. We gonna go home. All right, guys. They don't want to know. They don't want to know anything. So we can go home.
We can head home.
Should we go home, or are y'all ready for the Want Women Want relationship panel? Oh, okay. Now that sounds more like it. All right. So I have some illustrious, amazing gentlemen. They're very accomplished, and they're going to be open and honest with us about what they want and how we can truly bridge the gap between men and women, because this is about bridging the gap. This is all about love. We ain't coming in here with no hateration, none of that. We're coming in here with love and trying to figure out how we can bridge the gap between men and women. Are y'all ready? All right. Okay, so coming to the stage, we have Dr. Pervis Taylor III. Come on. He's a doctor. Hey, yes.
Ooh.
Thank you for being here, Pervis. We have Anthony Goss,
That's you.
actor extraordinaire.
The boy.
Hi, Anthony. We got Andre Ozim.
Damn thing. That sounds.
And last but certainly not least, we have Kelvin Joseph.
Yeah, girls, what's my weakness? Okay, then chillin', minding my business. You saw I looked around and I couldn't believe this.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Are y'all ready to do this? How y'all feeling?
Nervous.
You feeling nervous? Okay. All right, so before we even get this started, let's let these brothers know that this is about love. It's not about judgment or hate. So let's just show them some love. Thank y'all for being here. Let's clap it up. We love y'all.
We love y'all too.
Amen. Thank you for loving us, because we truly love y'all. Okay. So let's just go down. I gave a brief intro and said your name, but just tell us again, remind us who you are. And I want you to answer this question, right? Don't get nervous. Don't start whistling over there, Anthony T. Goss, okay? I would love to know, what is one thing that a woman could say to make you feel supported and loved in this moment? And we're gonna, can I start with you, Pervis? Dr. Pervis, I feel like you're gonna have a good answer for us.
So to answer the last part, I would say, I accept you.
That's good. I accept you. Wow. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Anthony?
You are enough.
You are enough. Ooh, that's good. I feel that. I want somebody to say that to me too. Okay?
I would say, I love when a woman says thank you and they appreciate what you do for them.
Okay.
It's good to know.
It's good to know.
It's good to know that you appreciate it.
Practicing gratitude is such a beautiful thing. Kelvin?
I would say, don't even say anything. Just give me a hug. I'll take that.
Yes, I love that. That's that physical touch.
Nonverbal.
Nonverbal, okay? The love languages. Y'all know about the love languages? All right, that's that physical touch right there. Okay? Now, will you each disclose what your relationship status is, just so the women know what perspective they are getting today?
So I guess I'll go first.
This is Dr. Pervis, and he is our resident expert up here. He's talking to men and dealing with men's mental health all of the time. So he speaks from that perspective, but also feel free to share your relationship status as well.
I am happily single.
Hey, all right, single, ready to mingle is what that sounds like. Anthony?
I'm currently dating right now.
Okay.
I am happily single as well.
Happily single. I love that.
I just celebrated my 18th wedding anniversary.
Oh my gosh.
Woo! So listen, let him
Clap
speak.
it up for that,
let him
right?
answer all the questions.
Okay, yeah, the
got
rest
all
of
the-
y'all can go home.
We can go home.
This is
It's
just
been, all right,
It's been real.
It's a fireside chat with Kelvin. Okay. You said 18? Okay. What's the secret? I gotta ask. What would you say is the secret from a man's perspective?
Well, the first thing, this is a beautiful audience, so I'm just happy to be here. When I first heard of Doers and Disruptors, I was like, this is gonna be amazing. But when I heard I was gonna be on an all-male panel telling women what they should want, I said, this is a setup. I know the first thing you don't want is some strange black man telling you what you want.
Amen.
So one thing I would say is happiness is success. And the part that we don't give ourselves is happiness is success. You deserve it, and you get to define what it is. So we don't want to be running around here chasing what we think we should have. Sometimes we need to be happy with what we have, and then everything else becomes gravy.
I love that. It's perspective, is what I hear you saying. Yeah, for sure. All right. So, I mean, since we're talking about commitment, we got 3 very single men up here.
Oh, you say very. Cool.
I ain't say very.
Oh, they're not very single.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm very.
You ain't got to
Wait a
put the
minute.
very on it.
Wait a minute.
You ain't got to
it's
put the
sounding
very
like-
on it. Single.
Just single?
Just single.
Is it really single? Now wait, you know the question, ladies. Does anyone think that they're in a relationship with you?
Well, since you said it that way.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding.
Why they silent, y'all?
Listen, I am not into leading women on at all. So no.
Same here.
Not at all.
Same here.
Yeah.
That is real.
Yeah, honesty, right?
Yeah.
Honesty is a real thing.
And I see that Anthony has not said anything. All right. We'll move on. But speaking of commitment, right? We hear a lot of men with the word, say that they want commitment, right? That they want to be in a relationship. This is something that they genuinely want, but it doesn't always feel that way. It feels like men are very afraid of commitment. And some women also, are afraid of commitment as well. Let's, say that. But it seems like more often men are really afraid to say, yes, we're in an official relationship. You are my girlfriend. This is official, engagement, marriage, these things, So let's speak to that. What is that? Do you experience that? What is that fear that's there?
The funny thing is, I'll just jump in. I deal with a lot of emotional turbulence from last situations.
Okay.
And sometimes I don't have the bandwidth to, try to understand. So I can admit I can be very, I can't deal with this energy. Not in a negative way, but more so in a way like I'm not a therapist, you know what I mean? I need therapy. I can't be your therapist and I need it, you know what I mean? So just dealing with that part, the emotional backdrop from the last situations.
So would you say that commitment feels like emotionally overwhelming for you?
I mean, getting to that point, you're saying, why can't we make that next step?
Yeah.
Of saying, you're my girl. It's just that, I don't know. I mean, it's also a timing thing as well, I don't know.
It's timing, it's emotional, it's a lot of things.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's not as easy as a simple, because to me, life choice is a real thing. It's like, I don't want to do this again. Exactly. So in that light, you got to carry it like, all right, you're the one, and that's it.
Okay.
That's a very scary thing, but people jump into it because they think like, all right, I'm bored, or, for whatever reasons, they jump into it.
To add on to what he said, it's a fear of picking wrong. For some, right? Because I don't want to speak for every brother, because every brother is different.
Yes.
I want to establish that every man is different. We're not monolithic. So I think for some, meaning me, it can be the fear of picking wrong. You know what I mean? Or if I'm even more honest, the fear of missing out.
It's options.
Options.
It's a lot of options out here, because y'all look good, I have to say. It's a lot of options. So, Kelvin, tell us, how do you get to the point where you can zero out all of the options and really know that you have the one? How do you get there?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is get comfortable with yourself and happy alone before you start trying to complicate your life with some other imperfect person. Sometimes we get so caught up in the careers or looking good on paper that we're not happy alone in our own room with our own thoughts. So just getting to that point where you don't need anybody else, then it'd be easier to find the right person. Because when you need something, that's not when you want to look for it.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, there were a lot of gems in there. And what comes up for me hearing what you're saying is therapy, men in therapy, just knowing that you're good with yourself, getting good with yourself. I know so many women who invest in themselves. We go to therapy, we are doing the work, we're reading the books, we going to the conferences, okay, aren't we? But it seems like our male counterparts are not always doing that. So let's talk about what work are y'all putting in to get yourselves right.
Val be ready. She's so ready for this. She's so ready.
Listen, you know.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I see a therapist, right? Even though I work with men in the mental health capacity, I see a therapist regularly. And I also have accountability. I also have a network of, community and things like that to, keep me on track. But, to give a little pushback, I know tons of brothers who are in therapy, who are doing the work.
I know 2.
I know tons.
Okay.
Again, I think it's important that we're careful with the narrative.
Okay.
Because if you even look at the data, the enrollment of men and black men in particular in therapy has increased significantly over the last 2-3 years.
Very true.
You just want to be careful with the narrative. There are brothers out there who are invested in improving themselves, not for the sake of being in a relationship, but for the sake of being healthy themselves.
Yes.
So I think that's the most important thing. It's like I'm going to therapy not so I can be booed up. I'm going to a therapist so that I can be whole.
Amen. Be whole. Now, but if you are in a relationship or you have a friend, someone that you're dating, how can you, if they're not in therapy and you feel like, that's something that they could benefit from, what could that conversation look like? Because you don't want to be telling them, you need some therapy, because nobody's going to be responsive to that, right?
I think it's all about enrollment in your process, like the things, your aha moments, the things that have been awakening for you, and also living it out. Because I also think those conversations need to be more nonverbal than verbal.
Okay.
So leading by example. So I think it's like if in a disagreement you're showing up differently than you did before, that's like, oh, she didn't act like that. She didn't act like how she normally acts. I think it's more so about modeling and demonstrating what it is that you're trying to get that person to. So people think to their level of exposure, expose them to your growth.
I like that. And I want to remind you, ladies, we're going to open up the floor for questions, so get your questions ready. Anthony, I know that you're a very spiritual person, right? And am I right? You're right. Okay, you're a very spiritual person, and I know spirituality or relationship with God can often do some of the same work that therapy can do, or it can work hand in hand. Can you talk a little bit about that and just talk about how your relationship with God helps through the dating process, or leads you, or convicts you about some things you ain't doing right?
It's all of that, honestly. I think it's just the growth. Spirituality, it's just the foundation, first and foremost. So, like my brother was saying about knowing who you are, if I know who I am in God and what He says, or what you meditate, then I can bring so much more to the table for my partner. I don't necessarily need you to fill a gap, because I've done the work where I'm whole. I'm standing on my own too, and we can do this together. So it's been a process since I moved to New York, where I'm finding myself. And so how does that look for a partner? How does that look for my career? How do I balance all these things? And you start to see where your holes are. And for therapy, like myself, I never had therapy, but I'm very much open to it. And especially if you're going to be in a relationship, a committed relationship, I don't want, my past traumas or insecurities to affect something that could be beautiful. So it's really just working on my spirituality and working on myself so that I can be able to be there for someone,
Yeah, I love that. And how important is spirituality, therapy, having tough conversations in a relationship for men? Or are you all trying to avoid those tough conversations and those tough spots? Anyone want to jump at that one?
I really believe that we know the answer to the question, but sometimes we don't want to do it. We're not just supposed to be doing whatever we feel like doing. We're supposed to be doing what God wants us to do first.
Amen.
Right? So that's the first thought. But then after that, everything becomes kind of gravy. So when you talk about spirituality, it's one thing about, let's say you read the Bible, but are you living it, right? That's the piece where it affects you. But I've been out of the game a long time. I don't even know. You guys have to tell me. I recently learned, though, that the sexiest thing I could do, wash some dishes and do some laundry.
That part, okay? The church has said amen.
You got an amen.
You got a bunch of amens.
I got some holy water back there. Jeez.
Some hallelujahs.
Jesus just walked by.
Let's just go on in and give an offering to that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Well, did anybody else want to chime from a single perspective?
Well, I think. Oh, go ahead, brother. I'm so sorry.
So, what was the question again?
So.
Because it was a lot of questions.
It was a long question. Just about spirituality, therapy. How important is that for you in your dating process?
Well, I will say before that, it was more so just financial security for me. Because I moved to New York. I had a corporate job, and I kind of quit my job, moved to New York with like $40 in my pocket, came in, slept in my car for a year, trying to figure life out, trying to find myself, became an actor, fumbled, broke. And then I got myself together. Now I'm in a place, I live by myself now. Before I had like 6 roommates. I'm not trying to court a girl. Got 6 people in the bathroom. It's just I had to get my life together, personal life first.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
along with that, I found my purpose. And also, like you said, when you find your purpose and you focus on that, things open up. People will come into your life. You came into my life. Everybody comes into your life,
It's very true. It's very true. Andre is a super accomplished actor. You can get into his bio and into everyone's bio in the program. He's been on Power and a bunch of other television shows. Congratulations on all of the things you are
celebrate
doing.
him.
Thank you.
So let's celebrate him. Yes.
Thank you.
We want to celebrate. But okay, you brought up a good thing. Finances is important, right?
Yes. Don't act like you don't want those Chanel bags.
Ashley, our finance is important. We have a financial guru in the audience. She tells us all the time how important our finances and investing is. It's very important, and I would agree. So, all right, let's really break this down. When you're out here dating and say so you're basically saying that when you were financially unable to date, you just didn't date at all, or you were just by yourself, kumbaya in your room.
That's a different conference. No, I'm joking. When I was going through that phase, I actually had a girlfriend, for about 2 years. And we were together. We were very, very much toxic in a way where I was still trying to figure myself out, and I wasn't able to fit the bill, and I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? So I chose to move on and get my life together. Okay. And that was hard. Yeah. But we're friends to this day. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not a selfish person. I'm not in it trying to take something from you. I'm trying to give, and if I don't have nothing to give, then what are we gonna do?
I feel you.
We're gonna be at Chipotle, I don't know.
I feel that.
Unless y'all like Chipotle.
All women aren't that way, though. In this year, in 2020, in 2021, there are many women who are the breadwinner, who are holding the household down, and the man is definitely taking care of the kids and doing all of those things. Is that something that you guys are open to? Or are you? Ooh,
I have to. I'm not trying
reactions.
to be like. No, I'm very traditional. I believe in taking care of everything, honestly.
Anthony, I saw you shake your head.
I think everybody have their own path, but not me. I don't think I would. Nah. I'd rather be, traditional. But also, I think it's just a partnership, man. If it's not about taking care of the kids, I'll do that if that's my role for that day or that week. I'll step in where we just fill the gaps. We're together, it's equal, but obviously I still think as the man, you still lead and you still do what you're supposed to do.
Okay, so you're open to a 50-50 situation.
But you still I think you take responsibility fully. As a man, you take responsibility, but if it's kids, it's that's together.
That's our kids.
That's us. You don't have to stay home if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Were you meaning financially or just in general take care of things?
I'm talking about financially.
Gotcha.
Yeah, right now.
That's what I figured it.
Yeah, but also, you see that role reversed sometimes where women are holding down the finances because traditionally a man in Western society would hold down the finances. The woman is at home, taking care of kids, taking care of the house, right? But we've seen that flip. Women are killing it. Lots of these women in this audience are making multi figures, Yeah. So we've seen that flip.
You can raise your hand if you.
You looking?
I'm joking.
These women are getting dividends, okay? They getting dividends out here.
You're talking about financial 6 figures and all that.
You should have been here for the earlier panel, right?
Some
Because
seven.
y'all got into the finances. Pervis, I want to know, in your conversations with men, does this come up a lot? Does finances and dating come up a lot? And what is that conversation?
You know, it's interesting. So last year, obviously, last year was a doozy for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a group of fathers who many, I would say like 95% of them lost their jobs.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, they didn't know what to do. So they're like at home with their kids. And I said to them, I was like, but you get to be a father.
Yeah.
And they were like, that was like, I said something in Chinese to them. Because as men, we're conditioned to be performative, not emotional, right?
Yeah.
And so they didn't know how to be anything other than provider.
Yeah.
So what I did was appeal to the fact that you can be a provider emotionally now. There's still wisdom that you can offer. There's still something that you can offer beyond just this moment right here. Because that's the thing is like, yes, as men, we're supposed to provide, but 2020 taught us that things can happen. Mm-hmm. And then who are you, right?
Yeah.
So I think the conversation I had with a lot of men is like, you get to be a human too. And being a
Yeah.
human is experiencing all the aspects of who you are in your humanity. So the conversations that I have with men is like, it's beyond just being performative and what you can produce.
Yeah.
It's who are you? You get to be, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know, so the conversations I'm having with brothers around finances now, it's like, it's both and. So it's like, I'm gonna explore the various iterations of who I am and, you know, hold that down as well.
Okay.
So it's a hybrid.
Yeah, because it's so important. All right, I want to open up the floor right now for any questions. Does anyone have a question? We ready. We got a microphone here. This young lady, and then we come into you, Amber. Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned not having the bandwidth for like emotions that a woman may have or whatnot. So I wanted to know, do you think at some point that maybe that you demonstrated something that triggered some of those that she was having?
Yes. Okay. So I'll give you an example, right?
That's
so
a good
we,
question.
you know, it was like a normal good morning call situation. One morning I didn't call, busy, literally, blew up.
It was,
I was
it was
like-
one morning. It was just one.
I swear. Listen, I'm not.
Y'all,
I'm
the
not
stories
listen,
I could tell, it probably was just
I'm
one
talking
moment.
about one morning I didn't pick up the phone. Oh, Andre, you ain't da 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 da
It
da.
was all of that. Okay, that might be real, because the hand grab, the air grab.
You feel me? Okay.
All right. But you have to realize you're dealing with the last guy who didn't call, you know, all the time.
Exactly,
Who was,
and that's where the bandwidth comes.
okay,
Yeah,
all right.
that's the bandwidth.
But I think I'm more now. I think I'm a little more patient with that. But
Everybody has issues,
it
though.
took me a
What-
while
what-
that took me a while to understand that was a trigger for me. That was a trigger.
Okay, that was a specific
That's
trigger
definitely
for you.
a trigger for me, too.
Amber,
My question is for Kelvin. As the married man, what do you believe you had to give up and what did you gain as a husband?
that's a good question.
Well, I would say that I had to become a lot more humble. So your humility has to exceed your ability. But with all the talented people in the audience, you have all this ability, so you're gonna have to have a lot of humility to match up with that. And that takes a lot of work. I would say the most miserable I've been was when Inc. magazine announced that both me and my wife were top 30 entrepreneurs under 30, the same year as Mark Zuckerberg. We were the most miserable when we were kids, when we were younger. And it was almost like we were competing, you know?
Oh, wow.
Showing up on the same list and stuff like that. But now, I realized that what I want is not what matters, right? So like I mentioned before, what does God want? What does my wife want? You know, these things are important to me as well. So I changed completely, and I think if you have love, then you could change. But I don't recommend trying to change a man because we're stubborn. Because it took me a decade to get to where I am now in my marriage. I didn't start off that way. So you might be looking for something that's already put together, but you're supposed to build the thing. You get some common ground and then you build together. I think that's what's important. If you're looking for somebody who's perfect, they're not going to want to be with you because you're imperfect.
Okay. I see everybody up here nodding their head. Do we have another question in the audience?
Hi. So my question is for Pervis. Earlier, someone mentioned the challenges from the previous relationship informing how they show up in their current dating situation. What would you say to the person that they're dating that is either helping them or in that situation navigating it with them? So that trauma, some of those things coming up in the relationship, and I'm trying to like vibe with you, like what would you say to the person that's partnering with them walking through those things?
Oh, just walking on the journey with them?
Yes.
Firstly, I'm going to say, you know what you signed up for. If you continue to stay in this, right, so you know what you signed up for, right, which is not as loving, but it is loving, right? So that's the first part. You signed up for this. I would figure out ways for you to collaboratively to figure out conversations in code words in order, to work through that. So for instance, I had a married couple that I was counseling, and he has I forgot what condition he has, but it's trauma related, and when they would get into it, that stuff would show up. And so what I did was I coached them to get into a space where you guys have to already prepare for this ahead of time, and you got to have code words. It's kind of like, I'm not trying to be, nasty, but like S&M, they have code words. Mm-hmm. So if it's like peppermint, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the word to know, okay, we're reaching into different territory and we need to figure out a way to navigate back from this. So developing code words and figuring out plan of actions ahead of time.
Yeah, I love that. I saw a meme on Instagram where all great things come from that said knowing your partner's triggers is a whole love language. And I think that's what you're saying. That's awesome. Yeah. Questions?
One last question.
Last question.
Last? What time is it?
We got.
What y'all doing? Y'all in a rush? Where y'all going?
You trying to rush us?
They'll be over here on the side to answer some more questions. Go ahead, Ashley.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ashley Fox, CEO and founder of Amplify, an edtech startup focused on showing adults and children how to build wealth.
Yeah.
We went to Australia together.
We did.
What's up?
So I want to make this first statement. A belief is nothing more than a thought you told yourself over and over and over again, right? Mm-hmm.
Amen.
And I think in the black community, we have so many beliefs that we grow up and we see and we internalize and we're conditioned to live through. So I grew up in a household where, like you two guys, in the black, my dad paid for everything. My mother has never paid a bill in her life. And she's been with him since she was 15 years old. But now that he's 60, I see the resentment he has. Because as a man, especially black men, you feel as though you got to do everything. But you're also human. And I watched my dad do everything and now can't receive love. So someone now who has money, who wants to give, he doesn't know how to accept because he's been trained to think he has to serve. But I also watch how he's resentful. And so my question is, what social norm have you thought to unlearn to bring in your relationship to say, hey, and it doesn't have to do with money, but what condition do you feel like you've been told that you bring into your relationship that can actually be redefined by you if you choose the story you want to tell? If that makes sense.
That's good. That's really deep.
That's a good question.
That's so good.
I'll let them answer.
That is a good question. I'm not even gonna lie, to be honest. I had a really good example with my father. He really loved that, my mother. Like, I was like, wow, like he really, day by day.
Well, men in general, I would say.
Men in general.
Men in general.
I'll answer quickly. So for me, like 90% of the women I date make way more money than me. And I'm cool with that. Not because I want to be a kept man, but I'm secure in who I am. Like, I'm still amazing. Like, I'm bringing something to the table, and I know that me coming to the table is enough. So for me, that's a norm that I feel that I've broken in terms of like just how I show up in those spaces and not being intimidated that she can put out a black card.
I love that, okay? And I don't know many men who take that perspective, but yes, please jump in. It doesn't have to be about finances also.
Oh, yeah. I would say unlike Andre, like I grew up in a single mom, and it was all boys. So I watched my mom kind of struggle a lot. So as the oldest, just watching your mom struggle and different men and how they treat your mother. And I may not have been outspoken at that young age, but I was paying attention. And I watched her come home tired or working 2 jobs and then trying to do this and try to do that and put you in sports. And for me, I was just like, okay, I see when she gets home, she wants the dishes done because she been out all day. And she come home and she be like, y'all couldn't do this? I've been out working. So for me, I pay attention to the cues. So now when I'm in a relationship, it's nothing for me to be like, yo, I don't feel less than if I gotta like do dishes all day, or because you understand like there's little things that you need to do and for support. And not having a father, it made me want to do those things that I thought a man was supposed to do, like go out of my way for her or just provide, but not like to demean myself. Oh, I gotta run around, I gotta make her love me and feel special, because my mom also taught me how to be a man and how to value yourself and how to see value in a woman. So I think to unlearn those social norms, it's kind of like, you know, you break through those traditions.
Yeah, I also had a similar experience. I grew up, my mother came from the Spice Island of Grenada with me in her stomach, you know? So she did everything. So I grew up wanting to be what I thought a man should be, and providing was the first thing you think of. But then I realized that for me, making money was easy. So the real work was the stuff that wasn't necessarily a traditional male role. And that's where you got to break yourself out of, because the money is a trap. Nobody wants to be broke. But I mean, how much more money do you want? You all look like you have enough money already. So what else?
Is there ever
next?
enough? Andre, you wanted to jump in?
Well, yeah, just going back to the norms. I would say probably just being more patient and being more vocal with the I love yous. Like my father wasn't so good with that with me and my sisters, but he's good with it with my mother, which is ironic.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't grow up with that. Yo, man, come here, man, give me a hug. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have that. So I think I would add that definitely.
Yeah.
More love, more TLC.
That's good. Okay, we're wrapping up, y'all. So, okay, I just want you all to go down the row and tell us where people can follow you. Tell us your name again, where they can follow you, and answer this last question as concisely as possible. What do you want from women? I know that's a hard question, but as concisely as you can. If you could wrap it up in like 3-4 words.
Okay.
What you want?
I'm Dr. Pervis Taylor. Y'all can follow me at Pervis Taylor on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. What I want from women is a safe space.
Oh, that's good. We all want that safe space. Anthony?
Anthony at Goss on Instagram. And what I want from women is to just grow, to equal partnership in life. Like I just want to just be the best we can be together. So just a partner who wants to push to the next level.
I love that. Andre?
Andre Ozim, Instagram mainly. Let's see. Man, this is such a loaded question. I think for me personally,
concisely.
Right. I mean, how can you say that concisely though?
I know,
You know what I mean?
get into it. Get into it, Andre.
I would say patience. Be more patient. That's
Patience,
simple.
okay.
Yeah. Be open to disappointment.
Oh, wow. Ooh,
It's gonna come.
I don't know how I feel about that, but all right. I will accept that. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Kelvin Joseph. My stage name is Cool Kel Marketing.
Hey, all right.
I'm not on any social media except LinkedIn, because I'm a businessman.
I know that's right.
So you find me on LinkedIn, Cool Kel or Kelvin Joseph.
No sliding in his DMs because he's married.
One of the things that I would say is I want women to stop being so competitive with one another, support one another. You won't need anybody else, because if women came together like you are together right now, right next to each other, and just being more of a cheerleader for one another, and there'd be more happiness. Let's say that. There'd be more happiness if you could just cheer for one another and be a support be a good girlfriend, like the conference, right?
I love
It's
that.
a great girlfriend.
That's a great girlfriend. Come on.
Hey.
It's a great girlfriend. We're great girlfriends up in here, aren't we? We already know all about
Great
that. Well,
girlfriends.
my name is Raval Davis. I've been your host for this panel. Thank you all for hanging out with us. It's been so great. Thank you for being here.
All right, great girlfriends, did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast and the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group at The Great Girlfriends, follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends, and on Twitter at @the_great GFS. I'm Sybil and I'm out. Peace.